Yo, what's up everyone? This is Kaiser War here. So I made a video a while ago about the Power of Fellow structure deck, specifically centered around the junk cards from Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds, and it was a new Yusei structure deck. Now, I was very negative in my previous video about it, and I do think a lot of that was unwarranted. I do think I kind of jumped the handle a bit. But there's some things I do believe that were really weird. I'm still not the biggest fan of the Junk Warrior like retrain, Junk Warrior Extreme, but I do see what they're going for. And it took me some time to kind of simmer down and understand what these cards are going for. They're not really meant for like the current Junks, like the current Synchron playstyle, which is basically just to get Speeder out and start Synchroning off. They're trying to do their own thing, and I get it. They're trying a different approach. Sometimes Konami doesn't really know what they want for an archetype. I mean, look at Red Eyes. Red Eyes went through so many weird things. I get it. You know, like it's just a different thing. This is more focused on Junk Warrior and giving him a new lease on life. I get it. So I'm calmed down a bit. Some of these cards are pretty good. I really do think so. Some of them. I still am not the biggest fan of Junk Warrior, but I think the other cards are pretty solid. I really feel like all they had to really do was take that restriction off the whole Junk Warrior thing about being able to synchro summon. But if you're gonna use the card, it has to be the last thing you summon, which I think that's whatever, right? Like, if you're not going to use it, there's a Synchro overtake target, which I'm okay with that too. It's better than just having a vanilla Junk Warrior in the extra deck and not using it. And at the very least, if you're going to use Extreme, at least to get some use out of it. Just have a high enough attack to at least get some use off of it. And I'm just saying, if it's going to be the last thing you use, it might as well be the last card you summon. But anyway, long intro aside, they introduced two more cards for the Power Fellow structure deck, two brand new cards. Now, they're going to reveal 8 cards in total, right? We already had the first 4 with Junk Warrior Extreme. It was Anchor Bolt Hedgehog, Full Speed Warrior, and Synchro Fellows, right? And so now we have 2 new cards in the form of Scrap Synchron and Scrap Warrior, which, funny enough, are now included in the Scrap archetype because they actually included the card Scrapyard in the structure deck, which does classify that you can add a Scrap tutor monster from your deck to your hand. So not only these are Yusei Warrior cards, but they're also Synchron cards and Scrap cards at the same time, which I think that's really hilarious. It's a shame they didn't add Scrap Iron to the whole thing. Like, they could have searched Scrap Iron, but I guess it is what it is. But anyway, let's look at Scrap Synchron. So, here we go. Level 1 Earth Machine Tuner effect. For a Synchro summon, you can substitute this card for any one Synchron tuner. You can use the first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn. Cool. Thank God. It doesn't lock you into like using just a one effect and you have to use the other effect some other time. Anyway, first effect. If you Synchro summon a monster that mentions a Synchron tuner as material, this card in your hand can be used as material, which I love. I love it when they do that. I freaking love it when they let you synchro from the hand, like how Revolution Synchron does it. I love it. Like, it gives you better ways of synchroing because you don't have to get on the field to do so. Synchro from the hand is pretty awesome. Plus, you can get Speeder out that way by just not having to force the monster on the field to do it, right? Second effect. If a monster's you control that mentions Junk Warrior and or is a Synchro monster with Warrior in its original name will be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can banish this card from your field or graveyard instead. So it's basically like Cyber Synchron. Synchro Rumble also does the same thing. Well, hey, we got protection here. So that's pretty cool. All in all, Scrap Synchron is not that bad, though. Like, I really think that being able to, like, tune from the hand is already a good enough effect as it is. So that's pretty damn awesome. And also we have Scrap Warrior, which I love the fact that it's Scrap. Like, I love the fact that these cards are Scrap cards technically now. I think that's hilarious. Anyway, level 3, Earth Machine Synchro effect, which is weird. I thought it would be a Synchro tutor, but I guess it'd be no point. Scrap Synchro, plus 1 or more non-tuner monsters. You can use the first effect of this card's name once per turn. If this card is Synchro summoned, you can add to your hand or send to the graveyard 1 Junk Synchron or 1 card that mentions Junk Warrior from your deck. So basically every card that we've seen so far that does mention Junk Warrior is searchable. So another searcher. Awesome. Damn, dude, they make it. It's kind of crazy how many searches we actually have, because Full Speed also searches too. Synchro Fellows also searches. Like, so these are like basically a 1 card starter. It's crazy. The second effect. The activated effects of monsters you control that mention Junk Warrior and or are synchro monsters with Warrior in their original names cannot be negated, except Scrap Warrior. Okay, so that's not bad. Like, the fact that, like, the second effect is actually pretty cool. Like, so the activated effects of monsters. So, like, I'm wondering how this is supposed to work. Like, does it have to be on the field for this effect to work? That's my understanding. So, like, if you summon it, right, that means basically you can still use monsters with Warrior in their names. And most of the times, the problem is that number is very limited, though. Like, all you really have so far is, like, I think this is supposed to, like, basically prevent the effect of Junk Warrior Extreme from being negated. Because a lot of people, to be fair, a lot of people aren't using the Warriors a little bit too much. I feel like the only Warrior cards that are like getting at least enough play nowadays is Satellite Warrior. Junk Spear obviously doesn't count because Junk Spear is, you know, is a Warrior monster, but it doesn't have Warrior. It doesn't have Warrior in its name. It's Junk Speeder, which, you know, these cards don't work with Speeder, so we gotta set that off the bat. I know a lot of people really want these cards to work with Speeder, and I did say so myself. But this deck is clearly going its own direction. Now, Speeder is in the deck, it's in the structure deck, but I mean, I feel like if there was a way to protect Speeder from, like, you know, bullshit, we would have had it by now. So I feel like this is they're not they I don't think they really care about this. I really don't feel like they care about the whole Speeder, trying to prevent Speeder from doing negate or whatever. I'm okay with it. Whatever, man. This is freaking whatever. But anyway, these cards aren't that bad. I really like them. I do. I just like the fact that they're technically scrap cards. And I do like, again, I like when we get cards that can synchro from the hand. Now, obviously, you need the other material on the field in order to do the synchro. It's not like, oh, you can synchro this card and another material in your hand, that stuff like that. And it does lock you to monsters that mention Synchron tuners as material, right? So, you know, you can't just, like, you know, abuse it by synchro from the hand. Now, if there was a way to synchro from the hand, that would be just disgusting, dude. Like, oh, you could choose this card and this card in your hand and synchro from that would be insane, man. That would be actually crazy. That would be a massive game changer, because you don't even have to have the monster on the field to synchro from the hand. You don't have to do that. But no, it's basically you have to have this as a material in your hand and the monster on the field as the synchro. So fair enough, right? Just fair enough. But overall, I like Scrap Synchron. I like Scrap Warrior. I feel like I like Scrap Synchron more than Warrior, but I'm sure there's a way Warrior can work. I feel there's like some weird out of the box combo for it. But I do like that as another searcher. Like, another searcher. Its second effect is one that confuses me, though. Like, it says the activated effects of monsters you control that mention Junk Warrior or Synchro Monster Warrior's names and original names cannot be negated except Scrap Warrior. That's so weird. I wonder what that effect's going to be used for. That's the one I can't pinpoint. Now, I get the purpose of Scrap Synchron. I get what it's going for. Scrap Warrior is the one I'm confused about. I don't know how that's going to work, but I'm sure it's probably something I'm missing, you know, with the maybe it's going to come together with all the other new cards. Again, we still have 2 more cards left. Now, we do know there's going to be a Sonic Chick retrain, because that was spoiled on a mat that was going to be released for the structure deck. So we know there's going to be a Sonic Chick retrain. We don't know what the hell this Sonic Chick's even going to do. Have no idea, but considering all these cards are searching out these cards, you know, to be easier starters, I assume that the Sonic Chick retrain is also going to be like another card that mentions, like, oh, it mentions Junk Warrior in its name. It's probably going to search out another card that mentions Junk Warrior, that kind of thing, right? That's all I can understand, because I just don't see how Scrap Warrior is going to play into this. But I'm sure once we get together 2 cards, we'll figure out something.